Hello everyone. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you on Wednesday, 22nd of November for our Technique Tuesday class that I would have done yesterday. But as many of you know, I was up in Brisbane for a Close to My Heart event. Such a fun time to spend time with my close to my heart. Some of my team members on the Sunshine Coast came down to Brisbane, and my upline, Susan, who lives in Sydney, also flew in for the event. So we had a great couple of days hanging out, creating, sharing ideas. We even did some Christmas baking as well. We did some business training. So it was super, super fun to spend that time with them. So I wasn't able to do our Technique Tuesday class live yesterday. So I am coming live to you today on Wednesday. Thank you for your patience with me. I normally do this in the morning, but I had a doctor's appointment today and some running around to do. So I'm here this afternoon and I am so excited to share this layout with you. Hi, Beck. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see you. Now, one of the things that I love to scrapbook in my scrapbooking are travel layouts. And for those of you that don't know, I love to travel, whether it is a weekend away, whether it's camping, whether it's interstate, overseas. I just love traveling. I love experiencing new things, new places, meeting people, talking with people. And this particular layout, these photos were taken in London on our first night in London as part of a big 6-week trip that we took for my husband's 50th birthday earlier this year. And I actually printed these photos off for Jai because I'm going to create a scrapbook for Jai of our trip. He was with us for the first 2 weeks. So we had some time in Paris and some time in London with him before he left us. And so I'm actually going to put a scrapbook together for him. And this is one of the layouts that is going to go in his scrapbook album. And can you tell that these pages have been created with Christmas paper? I bet you did not notice. Well, I'm going to share with you today how I've done that, and it looks fantastic. So for this week's scrapbooking challenge, we are working from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 book. We are doing pattern number 16, which is on pages 36 and 37 of the Make It From Your Heart book. I love these layouts because they're super simple. If you haven't got this Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 book, you want to make sure you invest in that. And I'm going to keep going all the way until the very end, which is pattern number 36. So we've still got, 20 weeks worth of scrapbooking layouts here to do. So whilst I pop the cutting diagrams in the comments at the bottom, it is obviously much easier if you've got the volume 3 book. And I've started with volume 3 because volume 4 and volume 5 have been discontinued. We've just released volume number 6, but the layouts in volume number 6 are mostly single page layouts, or they're a little bit more complex in terms of cutting. So I wanted to start with volume number 3 to get you into the swing of how we are doing our weekly scrapbooking challenges. So as I mentioned, I have used Christmas paper with this layout, and the Christmas paper is actually the grey and white check paper that runs along the bottom of the layout. This is actually exclusive paper from the Silver Bells Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. So in your November-December catalogue, we have a featured paper collection for each month, and the featured paper collection for November is Silver Bells. So this is a neutral tone Christmas theme, or you can use it for your winter photos. Every month I create the Scrapbooking Workshop Kit that you'll find in the featured paper collection. And as part of the Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, girls, you actually receive some exclusive sheets of pattern paper and die cuts. Now, this exclusive pattern paper here, you cannot buy this paper separately. Yes, you do get a packet of Silver Bells papers and some coordinating cardstock in the kit, but we also give you exclusive pattern paper in the Scrapbooking Workshop Kit every month. You cannot buy that separately. So the only way you can get your hands on that pattern paper is to buy the Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. And I had these leftover 3-inch bits of paper that I've decided to use on my scrapbooking layout for this week's challenge. Hi, Miss Kayla. Thank you so much for joining us today. She is away at work at the moment. I hope you are having a good day before your shift tonight. Now, I have also used on my layout the most recent packet of the mix-in paper pack. So can you see this brown and white rustic paper that's running actually through the middle of both layouts here? And then we've also got the zip strips at the top. So every catalogue, we also release a mix-in paper pack, which coordinates with each of the paper packs in that catalogue. So November, as I mentioned, we've got Silver Bells. December, we're going to be working with Evergreen. And then this paper pack helps you to bulk up. You might buy a paper pack, or you might have some leftover papers from your scrapbooking workshop kit. Well, the purpose of the mix-in papers is to help you bulk up your leftover papers, or you can create layouts individually as well. Now, with the mix-in paper pack, you only get 6 sheets of paper, and it's only 1 each. So that and that is back to back. That and that is back to back. That and that is back to back. Back to back, back to back, and back to back. So you get the 6 sheets of paper, and they're double-sided. So the only thing with the mix-in paper pack is that if you have got a scrapbooking pattern like the one we're working with this week, we needed 6 1/4 by 8 1/2 bits of paper. These are the big bits of paper here that are going on the base. What that means is I had to use 2 sheets of paper that matched. So it is a little bit tricky with the mix-in paper pack because you only get 1 sheet of paper in each pattern. What I have started doing is actually buying 2 packs of the mix-in paper pack for every catalogue cycle, because then I've got enough to be able to do a double page spread with it if I want. But I can also spread those papers across a double page scrapbook layout also. So that's a little trick there for you too. We've got the coordinating zip strip at the top. So that was 8 1/2 inches. And this was the scrap that was left over. Okay, so I've actually just added this extra spot of zip strip on the bottom. And I think that actually looks quite effective. Now, the technique for this week's scrapbooking layout was actually embellishing using stamped and die cut embellishments. Okay, so I've got a little cluster of stamped die cuts here. I've used this here as our title. On this side here, I've got a little cluster here. And here I've been able to make a cluster with the suitcases there to create an embellishment. So I'm going to be demonstrating that to you today. I have also stamped around the outside of the scrapbooking layout, which is a border, and I've used the 1 stamp set to do all of this. This here are some stickers. So the stamp set and the thin cut, which I have used, I'm going to be demonstrating this today, is called the Are We There Yet Scrapbooking Stamp Set and Thin Cut. Now, this is still available for sale. This was from our featured paper collection earlier this year, but you can still buy this stamp set and this thin cut. And then this came with some coordinating rubber shapes. So these are the Are We There Yet rubber shapes. You can see I've taken a couple of those to just tuck in and underneath my title here. And then the embellishments here with the little wooden pieces, I've taken them from the die cut shapes in wood grain. So I had a little camera and a little love heart banner there as well. So I thought that tied in quite nicely and just needed something a little bit else there. And then I have used some of my dots left over from my Silver Bells scrapbooking workshop kit. So I did see this morning when I logged into online office that the Silver Bells dots on their own have actually sold out. They haven't indicated whether we're getting any more of these in stock as of yet. They do come in the scrapbooking workshop kit, which are already pre-packed. So I'm not sure what's happening with those as of yet, so stay tuned. But I have used some of my leftover Silver Bells dots to put onto my embellishment cluster here. Now, the journal box here is 2 inches by 3 inches. I've ruled my journal lines at 1/4 inch. I might take that out just so we can see that a little bit closer. And then I've actually blended that with the blending brush and one of our new colours in Acorn. Now, I did demonstrate this technique last week. So this is actually the scrap that I demonstrated with last week. I did use toffee, but I have gone over the top of that with Acorn just to match the Acorn strip here. And I've also stamped these embellishments with the Acorn ink pad as well. And you can see here that I've added a flip flap on top of my layout. So if I slide that back in, I might do that at the end actually. Now, the In London title has actually been created with the wood grain die cuts in alphabet. Now, these have been discontinued, so you can't get these anymore. But if you have got those still in your little stash, you can use them to make your titles. You can stick them on with glue dots. I just use my normal tape runner. I just align my tape so I'm getting the adhesive right on the edge. And I just put some adhesive on the letter there and stick that down. I use my tweezers to get that in place. So let's get stuck into demonstrating the stamp set and the thin cuts. I'm going to start by doing the stamping. So I've got my Versamat here to share with you today. Now, I am going to be using the new Acorn ink pad. Now, a lot of people have said to me, you know what, I don't think I'm going to get Acorn. It's so similar to toffee. I'm actually going to stamp these colours separately today so you can see for yourself that they are quite different. This is probably a darker brown. This is obviously a lighter brown, but I do really love that Acorn. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I also used sage, mink, and also charcoal to create my embellishment clusters. And in fact, with my stamp set and thin cut, who knows, this might actually even come on sale this week, girls. We are going to have some cyber sales starting this weekend. It's Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but because of the time difference, it's going to be Black Saturday and Cyber Tuesday, I think, we go live. I've got absolutely no idea what's going to be included in the sale. They don't give us any indication as to what's going on sale. It literally will just pop up on my website on Saturday morning. If you are a VIP customer or you are signed up for the emails that come from Close to My Heart, you will get an email from them on Saturday morning when the sale goes live. I will also be posting in our social media groups. I will be at a market at that time on Saturday morning, but I will be posting on our social media groups. If you are not receiving emails from Close to My Heart Home Office and you want to be on their email loop, then you need to jump on my website and create an account and tick the box to sign up for emails from Close to My Heart. So these are some of the stamped embellishments that I have already pre-cut. You can see I've got a few left over here. So when I am making my stamps embellishments, what I like to do is cut extra and then I pop them back into the packaging that coordinates with that stamp set and that thin cut. So if I pull that out to use that again, then I've already got them handy. Now, obviously the advantage, so the stamp set and the thin cut retails for $70. And obviously the advantage to having this as your investment with your scrapbooking is it's something that you can use again and again and again. Not like stickers or die cuts where, you know, you buy them in packs and you stick them down. They have a one-time use. So you might think, oh, $70, that's a bit of a stretch. But typically what I do with my stamp set and thin cuts is I only invest in the packs that I know that I'm going to use a lot of. Okay, so they're typically holiday related, travel related, outdoors related, beach related, things that I take a lot of photos of. That's what I would be using for my stamp set and my thin cuts at the moment. The other great thing that I love with this is that we have 40 different colors of ink pads in our color range. And so once you've got that stamp set, you can coordinate those stamps with your ink pads with any paper collection that you've got. So when it came time to creating my travel layout here, I obviously looked at the coordinating colors for Silver Bells. So the coordinating colors are at the top of my scrapbook the top of the catalogue there where the featured paper kit is. And then I looked at the coordinating colors for the mix-in paper pack as well. And I thought, right, what colors from here are both with here that I can coordinate with Silver Bells and mix-ins? I went with the Acorn, Charcoal, Mink and Sage. There is also charcoal and mink here. I didn't use toffee because I wanted to use the Acorn to show you, ladies, the difference between the colours. So I'm just going to pop them to the side. We are going to do some stamping here. So I've got my stamp set ready to rock and roll. When you buy your stamps, it comes with this carrier, comes on a carrier sheet and this foam insert. You want to hang on to your foam insert because we are going to stamp over the top of that foam insert. So we're using that as a base. I've also got here to the side my stamp chamois, and my stamp chamois is already wet. So you just rinse that under a tap. So it's damp, you squeeze out the excess water, and I leave it sitting here in my stamp chamois case. So I've got that easily on hand to be able to clean my stamps and get the excess ink off before I put them back onto the carrier sheet. So what shall I stamp here? What do I need some extra ones of? Let's do the passport. So I've got my block here. I've got my 2x2 acrylic block. I'm just going to take my passport stamp off there. I'm going to pop that over the top of my acrylic block. Now, when you buy a stamp set from Close to My Heart, girls, whether it's on my website or whether it's in a catalogue, let me show you one, for example, here. When you buy a stamp set, so for example, this one here, the Parisian Floral Stamp Set, it will actually tell you on the catalogue or on my website what recommended block sizes you need for that stamp set, okay? If you haven't invested in any stamping stuff, you can buy a stamping starter kit, which is a great starting point. And then you can invest in your different size blocks as you need. So I'm going to stamp this in the acorn, okay? So I'm just going to ink that up, tap, tap, twist, twist, give that a nice ink up. I'm going to stamp that there. Okay, so I'm just applying pressure there. And then I'm going to grab my stamp chamois and I'm just going to wipe over my stamp like so. Pop that back in my little carrier case there. I'm going to use that stamp again, but I'm just going to stamp it in toffee because I want you girls to see the difference with the inks. So tap, tap, twist, twist, finish with a tap. There are grooves on the outside of your blocks, so that enables you, you don't want to rock. You don't need to rock your stamp. You actually just want to tap it, okay? And I'm going to stamp that in the toffee just next to that, just applying pressure there. So you can see the difference there straight away already in the colours. And in fact, I think my toffee ink pad probably needs to be re-inked a little bit here because you can see this is a nice, solid, clean, clear image. And this one's got some little white sort of speckles through it there. So we are definitely at the stage where my toffee ink pad probably needs to be re-inked. So we're going to stamp a couple of the passports there. I've got another size block as well. So I've just cleaned that and I'm going to wipe that off. It's still sticky. I'm going to pop it back on its carrier sheet. And now I might stamp, let's stamp a suitcase. I've got my suitcase here. I'm just popping that on this size block here. So I want this to be a little bit bigger. And I'm going to stamp my suitcase in charcoal. Because I don't really have, I'm just looking at what colours I've got here in case I wanted to make more layouts. I went with these colours with the photos as well because oh, hang on, I don't want it in toffee. Oh, I've inked it up now. Let's just stamp it. I've used these colours here because oh no, that was charcoal. Oh, duh. I forgot I said I was going to pull that out in charcoal. I looked at it and thought, oh, that looks like toffee. It's charcoal, Sarah. Okay. So stamp that in charcoal. Let's wipe that off. And I'm going to do one in the acorn. I love that new acorn colour. I can't get enough of it. Someone said that they thought it looks like baby poo. So there we go. There's a bit of a lull for you girls. What am I doing here? Oh, that's right. I was going to do another one in acorn, but here, let me stamp my suitcase. So when I'm doing my stamping, I like to put different stamps on the one sheet of White Daisy cardstock because when I run this through my embossing machine, I'm making best use of my time, yeah? So I just wanted to stamp the passports in the different colours there so you could see the difference between the acorn and the toffee. So I like to stamp, if I'm going to run a whole heap of stuff through my embossing machine to cut, I like to make sure I've got different stamped elements on my cardstock, so I'm making best use of my time while I'm doing the cutting. Okay, the other thing I wanted to quickly show you is the border pattern that I did on my layout here. So I'm just going to align that over the top of my foam square to demonstrate this. So I created this really cool border. So you can see here, and I've got going one way and then meeting up the other way as well. So I've actually stamped that the whole way around the cardstock just to this point here, which worked well because I didn't measure that to see if it was going to fit at all. Let's pull the acorn out again. So I'm just going to tap, tap, twist, twist. And all I did here was when I inked that up again, I turned the stamp around. So we ended up with this cool border-like pattern where you've got the stamps going alternate ways. Just match that in. And this way as well. And I just did that the whole way around my cardstock. So that could make, this stamp makes a really fun border pattern. So it's actually a really good value stamp set with thin cut as well. And the reason for that being is that you get so many different size thin cuts with your stamp set. So just to show you here on the carrier sheet, all of those stamps come with a coordinating thin cut, except for this little border one here that I've just stamped. Alrighty, so I've stamped some of those there to demonstrate that. And now I'm going to move this Versamat out of the way, and I'm going to bring up my embossing machine, and we are going to have a play with some thin cutting now. Alrighty, so this is the new Close to My Heart die cutting and embossing machine. It is a big investment, girls. So the machine retails for $264. When you open up your sides there, that actually suctions onto the table and keeps that embossing machine in place. And I don't think I showed you last time we used this. You can actually open this up, and it's got a little hidey hole here bit for you to put your handle in. You could pop some thin cuts in there. If you wanted to, you could put your extra stamped and thin cut pieces into here as well. And it comes with your adapter. It comes with your cutting mat as well. We actually put the cutting mat down first. So it works a little bit differently to my Cuttlebug that you guys have all used before. The cutting mat goes down first, and then the platform goes on top. So if you're in the market for a die cutting and embossing machine, a couple of people messaged me and said, how much is it? It's $264, but you know what, girls? It's a one-time investment, and why don't you put it on your Christmas list? Maybe if that's something you really, really want for Christmas, it could go on your Christmas list. Now, it does have, oh, hang on, I've got this upside down. All right, so I've got my cardstock here on top of my cutting mat, and then I'm getting my thin cut, and I'm putting my thin cut over my stamped image. And I'm just getting some washi tape here. I've got little bits of washi tape that I've got stuck on top. So a little bit tricky. You can't really use our magnetic cutting mat with it because of the order that you put these mats in. When you use the magnetic cutting mat, it actually warps the mat. All right. So I'm not using my magnetic cutting mat in here. And I've gone back to putting washi tape over the top of my thin cut pieces to hold them in place. So I've just used some leftover washi tape there, and my thin cuts are sitting. This is actually a magnetic sheet, so it keeps all of your thin cuts in place. All right, so I've got my stamped images stuck down. I've got my coordinating thin cut over the top. I'm now going to grab my platform, and my platform sits over the top of the cutting mat. You pick that up together like a sandwich. We're going to pop that inside there, and it's a manual machine. So we just turn that handle, and it cranks the cutting mat and the adapter through, and the pressure of that is going to cut. Now, this machine also, you can use your embossing folders with it. There is also a dial on the side of the machine where you can get extra pressure settings. So there is a video that you can watch on my website for this die cutting machine. And it does also come with an instruction manual as well and pictures to figure out how to use your machine. So whilst it is a big ticket item, it's a one-time purchase. And these are the really cool images that we are going to end up with. So, I mean, look, if you've got the money to invest in a Cricut, which is an electronic die cutting machine, then the electronic die cutting machine is a great way to go because obviously is much quicker to cut all of your stuff as opposed to stamping this and running thin cut through. Whilst your Cricut machine up front is a big investment, once you have your digital files in your digital library or your SVG cutting files, you can use them obviously again and again and again. There's no shipping expense on your digital files. They just, you place your order on my website and then the digital files end up in your digital library on my website. Kayla has just recently invested in one of the Cricut machines, and she's been buying some of the digital art on my website, and that's now sitting there in her library for her to use again and again and again. You cannot share your digital art, girls. So I can't buy the digital art and then transfer that to her. It doesn't work like that. It has to be sitting in your Close to My Heart digital library. So it really just depends whether you want to go down the route of an electronic die cutting machine or whether you want a manual machine, okay? So this one retails for $264. It's got a standalone shipping expense on it of $41.50. So that could be a Christmas present for you or just for yourself. If you want to invest in one, I do also offer an Afterpay option, but you need to shop in store for me for that, for Afterpay. There's a minimum spend of $300, and so that machine and the shipping cost would take you over. So that is how your stamping and your thin cutting works. I'm just going to move our embossing machine out of the way, and I'm going to come back here to my layout. What I've done here is then created embellishment clusters using my stamped and cut die cuts, and I've popped them up with 3D foam tape. So I've grouped a couple here, I've grouped a couple here. This one's got 3D foam tape and this one hasn't. It's tucked in and underneath there. And then I've also got this side here. I'm just going to take this out. This has got a flip flap on it as well. I'm just going to take this out to show you this one. This one here, I stamped the title and added that up with some 3D foam tape. So you can buy the 3D foam tape. It comes with 2 rolls for $13 a pack. And I use this a lot for my embellishments. And then I've created another embellishment cluster in the bottom left-hand corner. So you can see you've got this triangle pattern here, girls, going this way when we've talked about embellishment clusters. Having this big one here grouped down the bottom was awesome. I had a couple that were just straight on the paper, and then this suitcase in the middle, I've popped some 3D foam tape underneath that and then put that on top of my layout. So that is today's Technique Tuesday on a Wednesday class for you. I hope you've been inspired to do some stamping and thin cutting in your layouts. And you never know, this set might go on sale during the sales. I will post a link in the bottom of the comments to the Are We There Yet scrapbooking stamp set and thin cuts. Enjoy your week. Look forward to seeing your challenge, girls. Thank you.